Disney's Star Wars empire is on the verge of collapse, and rumors are swirling that Bob Iger might be preparing to cut ties with the galaxy far, far away. George Lucas' scathing White Slaver's comment now feels like a chilling prophecy as the franchise faces its darkest hour. Under Kathleen Kennedy's controversial leadership, billion-dollar failures and fan outrage have pushed Star Wars from cultural juggernaut to cautionary tale. With disasters like the Rey movie and the Acolyte sinking billions and divisive creative choices alienating lifelong fans, Star Wars is no longer the untouchable giant it once was. Could Iger's rumored sale be a desperate move to abandon ship? Or is Disney gearing up for one final, high-stakes gamble to salvage its legacy? Today we unravel the scandals, missteps, and chaos shaking the galaxy to its core. This raises a compelling question: is Kathleen Kennedy making one last attempt to assert control? Or is this a desperate effort to rescue her failing legacy? The situation is rife with scandals, poor decisions, and corporate mismanagement, pushing one of the most beloved franchises in history toward collapse. Lucas's infamous White Slaver's comment is a shocking insight into his feelings after selling Star Wars. It reveals his deep disappointment and frustration with how Disney has handled his life's work. Star Wars, built on decades of Lucas passion and creativity, was transformed into something unrecognizable, a product driven more by market trends and rebranding than the rich storytelling and world-building Lucas cherished. His choice of words, while extreme, reflects the pain of a creator watching their vision fall victim to corporate priorities. This struggle isn't unique to Lucas. Many creators face a similar dilemma when their art is handed over to corporate entities that prioritize profits over creative integrity. Lucas likely viewed Disney's approach altering canon, reimagining characters, and focusing on inclusivity campaigns as a betrayal of the themes and stories he worked so hard to build. His analogy underscores the tension between artistic vision and the cold mechanics of commercialization, a challenge that continues to plague many industries today. The idea of Bob Iger selling Star Wars may seem extreme, but given the chaos surrounding Lucasfilm, it isn't entirely implausible. Under Kathleen Kennedy's tenure, the franchise, once a cornerstone of cultural and financial success, has been in decline. Despite Disney's $4 billion acquisition of Lucasfilm in 2012, what seemed like a lucrative deal now looks more like a liability. High-profile failures like The Acolyte, the polarizing sequel trilogy, and the abrupt cancellation of major projects have left the franchise hemorrhaging money and fan goodwill. The rumored timing of a potential sale aligns uncomfortably with Gina Carano's reported legal victory, amplifying speculation about Disney's desperation. Carano, once a fan favorite for her role as Cara Dune in The Mandalorian, became a lightning rod for controversy after her firing, which many viewed as an overreach driven by Lucasfilm's prioritization of social agendas over storytelling. Her departure symbolized Lucasfilm's willingness to alienate its core audience, and her subsequent legal win or settlement underscores the depth of Disney's internal turmoil. For Kathleen Kennedy, the fallout from Carano dismissal added to her mounting controversies, with critics labeling it another blunder and a tenure riddled with poor decisions. This situation may have forced Iger into considering radical options, such as selling Star Wars, to contain the damage. Some insiders speculate that this could be part of a broader strategy to distance Disney from its failures and rebrand as a company willing to course correct. Others argue it's a calculated PR move to deflect attention from deeper systemic problems that have plagued the company. If Star Wars is indeed on the chopping block, the implications are enormous. For fans, this could be seen as an acknowledgement of their long-held grievances, that Kathleen Kennedy's focus on agenda-driven narratives, sidelining of beloved legacy characters, and disregard for the franchise roots have alienated the audience that made Star Wars a cultural phenomenon. However, skeptics point out that such a sale would likely serve as a scapegoat tactic, blaming the franchise for Disney's broader issues while avoiding meaningful internal reform. Kennedy, meanwhile, reportedly remains determined to end her tenure with a significant win, despite years of diminishing returns. But can a last-minute success truly erase the legacy of mismanagement that has marred her time at Lucasfilm? Selling Star Wars might give Disney temporary relief from shareholder pressure, but it won't fix the underlying issues unless the company addresses why fans have been leaving in droves. Ultimately, Disney's approach to Star Wars reflects a larger pattern of corporate missteps, and without real change, the damage caused under Kennedy leadership could have lasting repercussions far beyond the fate of the franchise itself. Disney's $4 billion acquisition of Lucasfilm in 2012 was expected to secure an endless stream of blockbuster hits and unrivaled fan devotion. Instead, the deal has turned into a cautionary tale of squandered potential. At the center of this storm is Kathleen Kennedy, whose leadership has overseen a series of costly missteps that have eroded Star Wars' once untouchable legacy. Initially, the sequel trilogy showed promise. The Force Awakens capitalized on nostalgia and raked in $2 billion, setting the stage for a revitalized franchise. But the goodwill didn't last. The Last Jedi polarized fans with divisive character arcs and controversial story choices. Although it grossed $1.3 billion, the backlash was fierce, alienating a significant part of the audience. By the time The Rise of Skywalker arrived, interest had waned. Its $1 billion box office haul, while substantial, was far below expectations for the climactic chapter of such a storied series. For a brand like Star Wars, this trajectory signaled an alarming decline in audience trust and enthusiasm. The issues, however, go far beyond the big screen. Kennedy's emphasis on expanding the franchise into Disney series has been met with mixed results. High-budget productions like The Acolyte, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and The Book of Boba Fett failed to capture the magic of earlier Star Wars entries. Instead of revitalizing the brand, these shows face criticism for weak storytelling, questionable creative choices, and failing to meet fan expectations. These misfires, combined with skyrocketing production costs, contributed to Disney's reported $4 billion in streaming losses, a stark reminder that quantity cannot replace quality. Even more damning is the collapse of Star Wars merchandise sales, once a cornerstone of the franchise's success. Toys, collectibles, and memorabilia that once flew off shelves are now languishing in warehouses. Fans have largely rejected the newer characters and storylines introduced under Kennedy's leadership, resulting in billions of dollars in lost potential revenue. The underlying problem, many argue, lies in Kennedy's priorities. Critics point out her focus on political messaging and woke narratives, which they feel has taken precedence over the escapism, timeless adventure, and compelling characters that once defined Star Wars. This shift has alienated longtime fans, further damaging the franchise's reputation. Despite these issues, Disney's decision to repeatedly renew Kennedy's contract has left fans and industry insiders baffled. To many, it represents a glaring lack of accountability within Lucasfilm. The consistent underperformance of films, series, and merchandise under Kennedy's leadership has tarnished Star Wars' standing in popular culture and left fans questioning why they should invest in the next big project when the track record has been so disappointing. In financial terms, the damage is staggering. Billions of dollars have been lost across box office, streaming, and merchandise revenue. What was once a multi-generational cultural juggernaut now faces an uncertain future burdened by years of mismanagement and unmet expectations. The rumored cancellation of the Rey movie and other projects under Kathleen Kennedy's leadership is a symptom of deeper issues that have plagued Lucasfilm. Kennedy's creative vision, while ambitious, has repeatedly clashed with the expectations of the core fanbase, leading to project failures and growing disillusionment with the franchise. Let's break this down further. The Rey movie, initially touted as a bold step forward for Star Wars, was positioned as a fresh chapter where Rey, portrayed by Daisy Ridley, would establish a new Jedi Order. On paper, it sounded promising, but in practice, it faced overwhelming skepticism. The sequel trilogy had left fans divided, particularly over the perceived mishandling of legacy characters like Luke Skywalker. Many saw this project as an extension of that mismanagement, further alienating those who had already felt betrayed by the direction of the saga. Rey herself is a polarizing figure. While some embraced her as a new face of Star Wars, many criticized the character for being underdeveloped and emblematic of what they saw as Kennedy's focus on identity politics over storytelling. When reports emerged that Kennedy had chosen a relatively inexperienced female director for the project, it sparked another wave of criticism. Fair or not, the decision was seen by many as prioritizing optics over substance, reinforcing a narrative that Lucasfilm was more focused on messaging than delivering a compelling story. This backdrop of skepticism and controversy created a toxic environment for the project. Insiders alleged creative clashes between Kennedy and the director, leading to a lack of clear vision. In an industry where uncertainty spells disaster, Disney likely saw the project as too risky to move forward, especially given their current financial struggles. But the Rey movie is just one part of a larger pattern under Kennedy's leadership. High-profile projects like The Acolyte, Rangers of the New Republic, and other spin-offs have faced similar fates. Some have been delayed indefinitely, others quietly shelved, and a few have launched only to be met with lukewarm reception. The overarching problem? A lack of cohesive storytelling and an over-reliance on themes and narratives that have alienated the franchise's most loyal fans. Kennedy's ambition to modernize Star Wars by infusing it with contemporary sociopolitical commentary has backfired spectacularly. What should have remained a timeless tale of adventure, heroism, and hope instead became embroiled in cultural debates. For many fans, this shift felt like a betrayal of what made Star Wars special, a universe that allowed them to escape real-world issues, not confront them. Another significant factor is Kennedy's reported leadership style. She is said to be highly controlling, micromanaging projects, and frequently clashing with creative talent. This approach has led to high-profile exits and strained relationships with directors and writers. In Hollywood, where collaboration is key, such a reputation can stifle creativity and derail projects. The result is a franchise that feels directionless, caught between Kennedy's vision and the expectations of its fans. As projects continue to falter or fail outright, the question becomes increasingly urgent: can Star Wars recover under its current leadership, or is it time for Disney to make a bold change? Until Lucasfilm can deliver stories that resonate with both old and new audiences, the legacy of Star Wars will remain tarnished and its future uncertain. The rumored cancellation of the Rey movie underscores the larger crisis within Lucasfilm, a franchise struggling to find its footing amid years of creative mismanagement and polarizing decisions. While shelving projects like these might prevent further financial and reputational damage, it also highlights Disney's inability to navigate the storm Star Wars finds itself in. Let's explore why the brand's direction under Kathleen Kennedy became such a lightning rod for controversy and whether there's still hope for redemption. Star Wars' decline can largely be attributed to a strategy that alienated its core audience in favor of divisive, agenda-driven narratives. What was once a saga of timeless adventure and hope became a platform for ideological battles, leaving longtime fans disillusioned. For many, Luke Skywalker's transformation from a symbol of optimism to a bitter recluse in The Last Jedi was emblematic of this shift. His tossing away the lightsaber wasn't just a narrative decision, it was seen as a rejection of the values and heroism that defined the original trilogy. Legacy characters like Han Solo and Leia Organa were similarly mishandled, sidelined to prop up new protagonists who often lacked depth and development. This approach felt less like a respectful continuation of the Star Wars mythos and more like an effort to overwrite it entirely. The disconnect between the studio's vision and fan expectations created a rift that only deepened with each new release. Disney underestimated the importance of generational loyalty. Star Wars thrived for decades because it appealed to both older fans and younger audiences, creating a shared cultural touchstone. By focusing on deconstruction rather than building upon what made the franchise beloved, Disney fractured this connection. The result? An increasingly alienated fanbase, diminished enthusiasm for new projects, and a once unshakable brand losing its status as a cultural phenomenon. The financial fallout of this mismanagement is evident. Merchandise sales, once a cornerstone of Star Wars profitability, have plummeted as fans disengage from the new characters and narratives. Streaming series like The Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi failed to reignite excitement, often criticized for lackluster storytelling and odd creative choices. Meanwhile, the fatigued narrative surrounding Star Wars grows louder, as even die-hard fans question whether the franchise can recover. So is Star Wars beyond saving? Not necessarily, but any chance at redemption requires a dramatic course correction. The Mandalorian proved that the magic of Star Wars still exists when creators respect its roots. By embracing compelling characters, tight storytelling, and a focus on escapism, it captured the hearts of fans old and new. Its success showed that Star Wars doesn't need heavy-handed messages or constant reinvention to thrive. It needs to recapture its sense of adventure. For Disney to revive the brand, they must return to the core principles that made Star Wars an enduring legend: timeless storytelling, iconic characters, and a universe that invites fans to dream. However, this isn't possible under the current leadership. Kathleen Kennedy's tenure has become synonymous with controversy and division, making it clear that a new vision is required. If Disney can find leaders who prioritize storytelling over agendas, there's a path forward, but it's a steep climb. Rebuilding trust with fans, repairing the brand's cultural relevance, and delivering consistent quality will take time and a clear commitment to change. Star Wars isn't dead, but it's undoubtedly on life support. Whether it can rise again as the beacon of cinematic adventure it once was depends on Disney's willingness to learn from its mistakes and embrace a future guided by creativity, not controversy. Grogu, affectionately known as Baby Yoda, proved that Star Wars still has the magic to captivate audiences when handled with care, but even this phenomenal success shines as an outlier in a franchise plagued by missteps. The way forward for Disney and Lucasfilm is clear. They must confront their shortcomings and embrace the voices of the fans who have cherished this galaxy for generations. Respecting George Lucas' original vision, focusing on compelling storytelling and steering away from divisive, politically charged narratives could reignite the spark that once made Star Wars a cultural juggernaut. But will the leadership at Disney and Lucasfilm have the humility to admit their mistakes and change course? That's the challenge standing between Star Wars and a brighter future. The question remains, can the franchise truly recover from years of fractured trust, or is it destined to be remembered as a shadow of its former self? To succeed, they must act quickly and decisively. The galaxy's future hangs in the balance, and without genuine reform, Star Wars risks becoming a relic of squandered potential. Thank you for tuning into this discussion on the state of Star Wars. If you enjoy in-depth analysis and unfiltered commentary on the entertainment industry, don't forget to subscribe to Movie Saga and hit the notification bell to stay updated. Now, we want to hear from you. Do you think Star Wars can be saved, or has the damage gone too far? What do you think it would take to bring balance back to the Force? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay engaged, keep the conversation alive, and may the Force be with us all.